Hey y'all, it's TT and you're tuning in to Tweet.
I've just been stuck in my thoughts, a dream of you. I wish this game we call life was something. Just keep rethinking the times where it was just two.
Damn, this is
Like
episode
he's watching this.
26 that we're on. New room, guys.
Crazy. New
We got the
fucking
new room.
But like
Crazy.
the lights though.
Yeah, it's like the lights, the
about it.
sound,
Yeah,
you
let's
know.
talk about it. All of it together.
It's giving.
The ambiance is crazy.
It's a good fucking vibe. It's a shroomy vibe.
Shroomy
Imagine
vibe.
tripping while like you're trying
Really?
to do an interview.
Oh,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
an interview is
mood.
crazy.
Have you ever tripped before?
No.
Damn.
Really?
No.
Are you interested? You're like no.
I feel like I just have to be like at peace, and I'm like always thinking about the next thing. So like I would have to be just like in the present completely.
Yeah.
No stresses, like on a vacation type shit. Like that'd be fun though.
Outside.
Like I definitely
Outside.
I've always been like, okay, I want to do it, but like I don't know. Like I just have to be in the right circumstances.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel
I
like
would
you do.
plan
Like
that
the
out.
mindset is very important. Like
Definitely.
when you do trip.
Are you
Yeah.
naturally like anxious or nervous person?
So
or not
I
really?
feel like I've had anxiety. Like now it's not necessarily like too bad, but like I'll like feel it creep up for like random shit.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely like high school me. Oh my God, terrible.
Yeah.
Like now it's just like I think a lot about the future, but I always like remind myself of the present and like whatever's happening in the moment. But yeah, I mean I'm a performer. I'm gonna always have my like anxieties about
Yeah.
like, oh my God, am I doing this right?
Like,
That
situational
vocal was
anxiety.
ass. Like don't do it
I
again.
know.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Crazy.
A lot of people say that too about tripping. They're like, I'm naturally like this, and I don't know, like in like involving drugs and shit. It's a
Yeah.
whole different ball game. So.
That reminds me of Tyler. Like that Tyler the Creator.
Oh yeah,
Like, 'cause
motherfuckers
that's
like
kind of how
new.
he is. He's
Yeah.
not fucking with any of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Even though everybody like around him might, but like,
But I feel like for him, like, imagine like you already have like that vision of life, like you already experienced life
Exactly.
like that. Like I relate to him OD because I feel like already like my life kind of like a crazy image in my eyes. So like off shrooms, off psychedelics, I might be like, whoa,
it might be
like,
overwhelming.
actual roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like,
Shit.
It'd be like that.
yeah.
Be like that. But let's get into it.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you? What do you do? Give the
Hey.
listeners a little spiel.
So I'm TT. I always say I'm an artist in all senses of the word. So like I do everything. And like if I haven't done it yet, I'll probably try it later.
Yes.
But I'm definitely like a recording artist. So I sing, I rap, I produce, and then yeah, I'm like kind of into like everything in terms
That's
of
crazy.
visuals and editing and like, you know, all aspects. I try to show it like through everything I do. So like you go to my like Instagram and see
I was
visuals
gonna ask
and like
you about that.
I edit like crazy and like I've been into like photography and stuff, but like because I know people who do photography, I'm like I want to do this with you so I
Yeah.
could like have that experience and like learn more. Because it's not all I do, or like I don't have like a hyper focus, but it's definitely like a super interest that I have
Yeah.
and I care about.
And you could tell.
Yeah, you
On your
definitely
Instagram.
can. It's
Like,
mad
I love
cool
it.
because you
Thank
literally
you.
do everything. Like it's just interesting. How did you like get into it? Like, did you always know because you were probably creative, like when you were younger, that you wanted to do
Yeah.
something creative?
Oh my God. So like thinking back at it, like my parents really thought I was so crazy. But when I was in kindergarten, I said that I wanted to be a model because I used to watch America's Next Top Model,
Yeah.
OD. So I already had like that visual. I always was like the fashionista. I had like to have like the pairing, the monochromatic fits.
Yeah.
And then I always was into singing. Like luckily, like my cultural background. So my mom's Haitian, my dad's Congolese, so it's like rich in like musical factors and like they're pioneers for a lot of like different trends in music. So like I feel like I grew up with that, and then also I grew up like early 2000s where it's like it was so experimental, and like even
Yeah,
throughout
that's
time we've seen how artists have done crazy shit. So like I feel like I was lucky to like be born in like such an era where it's like you're listening to everything.
That's facts,
My parents weren't
honestly.
necessarily like shielding me from anything, like, but I got a lot of exposure, so I just was into all types of art. And I don't know, I feel like I'm crazy, like I've always wanted to like conquer everything.
Yeah.
So like
yeah, I get
in like elementary school, like we had chorus and like we sung there, and we had like arts and crafts, and it just kind of expanded. Like in middle school I did theater, and then that was crazy for me because it was like I'm like in the background. I was doing a lot of like set and like working with people in ensemble roles.
Okay.
So it wasn't necessarily like leads and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did chorus in middle school too. So it was like a lot of musical stuff going on. And I always did visual stuff. Like I did visual arts like in my own time. But just managing all of it like was so much work that
Especially
I was like,
being in school. Like,
yeah. I feel like it's kind of just like transpired into the rest of my life because I continued to do that through high school, and now like I'm finishing like college, and I still like I do music, I do visual arts, I do like everything while going to school, while having like 2 different jobs. Like I kind of like do it all. Like
congrats though. That's a lot to balance.
And I know that shit's hard.
I'm graduating this semester. I'm so
that's fire.
hyped. Like, so I go to LaSalle in Newton. Yeah,
that's dope.
And I'm a marketing major, so like I kind of got lucky because I could utilize everything I learned in music, in like anything. Like I find myself helping my friends and being like, you should do this, but to implement it on myself is different. Like I feel like I'm good at like consulting with people and helping them out, but then I'm like, I gotta work on doing that to myself. I'm like, how am I a marketing major and I'm not applying it to myself? So like it's definitely been a challenge. The more I take like my artistry seriously, the more I like apply that. But I feel like also for me, I didn't like fully believe in like being a musician and like an artist fully. Like probably before I started college, I was like, oh my God, like everyone's telling me like it's a hobby, but like I really believe in this. And during my high school career, like I kind of like stopped doing theater because I just felt like there was a lot of like favoritism and like weird stuff going on, so it was just like,
it's like the same people get the same lead roles every year.
It wasn't even just that. It was just like there wasn't enough highlight of the people who were doing a lot of things like and putting their like all into it in the back ends, because like some of the people who were getting the lead roles were like very talented people. Like I'm not gonna say they weren't talented. It's just that like there comes the issue of like, are you giving everyone a chance? Like are you seeing everyone's capabilities? And then like everyone has a different confidence level. So growing that way has been really crazy. But I will say that it taught me a lot about myself and like fighting for my talent. Cause like if you don't fight for what you believe in, like in yourself, no one's gonna see it for you.
That's
so
facts.
like that was a big like learning curve for me, that I was like, oh, I'm not gonna deal with this, or like here's what I'm not gonna deal with in the future. And that's kind of carried me and like given me motivation.
That's really important too, like to have something like that. And that's, I feel like you can see that like literally with everything you do. You just obviously give it your all, I feel like.
Definitely.
I like down to like my friends and supporting them and like being around, like I put my all. I really try to remind myself to be in the present and like support everyone to the fullest that I have around me. And if I feel like if you feeling like there's something happening where it's like I don't fully feel connected to it, so like there's something that has to change for me, and like that's like a motivator for change too. I'm big on like adapting and like changing my life for the better and like progressing too. So
definitely.
that's really, really big for me.
That's dope.
I love hearing you talk. I'm like, I don't even have thoughts. I'm just like agreeing with it in my head. I'm just like, oh my God, like
You're
yes,
good at
yes,
talking.
yes. Like yes.
Thank you.
No bullshit.
That's crazy though, the theater background. Did you go through that till like to the end of high
school?
school?
I did it from middle school till like end of high school. So we did plays and then we did musicals. And we did I think it was like one play and one musical per year. So during the fall, it was usually the play, and then during like the rest of the school year, it'd be like musical preparation, all that stuff. And also in my high school, we did we had choir or chorus, and then we like a lot of the chorus kids did theater anyway. So for the musical, it was like sometimes like it would coincide because it's the same director. But in middle school, I did both as well, and then that was more fun for me. Like I felt like it was a creative outlet. I got to like discover myself. You know, I find out my vocal range and like what I'm good at and like how to be more expressive. I think I have an expressive face already, but like it was fun to like challenge myself and learn. And then in high school, it got a little more serious. Like it was just more like next level. Like auditions were different.
Definitely.
Just like the competition, like people were going even harder. I'm like, I'm here to have some fun. Like y'all are talking about breaking people's necks in the bathroom. I'm like, please, like
and
there would be so much.
Kids are crazy. Like,
they're
crazy.
I'm telling you,
they're like
that
very
I would
intense.
I wasn't prepared for that, and I was like around theater kids for so long, and it was just like, I don't get like, what are y'all on right now? Yeah, like it's just like it's fun to have like other like cool people who are interested in it, but then it's like I would be like outside the theater bubble, and they'd be like, so
trust me, because you're dipping your toe in other like circles too.
And they'd be
meanwhile,
like,
but they're there for that and that only, so they look at you kind of like an outsider. Yeah, I feel you.
That happened to me all throughout high school too. Like I dealt with a lot of people being like, you're over there, and I was just never the kind of person that was like, I'm stuck here. Like I'd befriend anyone, I'd be friends with anyone. I feel that. So it was just so interesting, like being in environments like that where like there is competition at one point. It's like, I understand, like, we're fighting for the same role, but, like, I'm not going to sit here and bash you if you, like, you get the role over me. Like, have fun. Yeah. But there was definitely times where it was just, like, am I being treated how I think I should be treated? And, like, I have, like, a really big family. So, like, I have, like, 4 younger siblings. I'd have to, like, go home and, like, take care of them in high school. So it's, like, I can't fully give my all to this. Like, the rehearsal better end at, like, 6 because I got to go home. Like, it wasn't even, it was not even that serious. And, like, I would have issues of, like, scheduling, and that's why I wouldn't get a role. Or, like, you know, I couldn't, like, fully be delved into it. And it's, like, is that really fair? But I understand, like, it's a sacrifice to go and do things like that. Like, during musical season, we'd be at school till, like, 11, sometimes midnight maybe, like, and it was crazy the amount of effort you have to put in because, like, typically, like, arts programs have less funding, so, like, you're putting in more money, and there's all of those, like, things coinciding, and then, like, you have to go home at the end of the day. Like, all of that, like, goes together, so high school me, I definitely, like, I was a little depressed because it was just, like, so much going on, and then figuring out, like, going to school and all that stuff, like, and all the obligations you have. Oh my God, it was a lot of work. So I didn't stress myself about theater that much after. I was like, if I don't think I'm getting treated right, I guess I'm gonna quit. Like my senior year, I was like, all right, I guess I'm not doing the musical.
If you're not having fun, then what's the point? It's not worth the stress if you're not even like gaining anything.
And it was so funny because like I said, I did chorus too, so it's like I wasn't doing the musical, and everyone's like side-eyeing me when I'm in class. When you're in class, like, and it's like, damn, I just can't live. Right? Like let me. I had so much free time. I never hung out with like people so much, like more than that. A quarter of the year, because it was just like I had more free time. Like I can go out. Year? Yeah, that was my senior year.
Is the turning point.
That's for everybody. You're like, oh shit, life's getting real now. I really need to put myself first. What's going on?
Like, I had so much stuff happen to me. Like I think my sophomore year I had a concussion, and it was like a severe one. And like that one stopped me from like being fully involved from theater at that time. And then like it just made me think so hard about like how much time I spend, because when you have a concussion they make you like sit and you can't use anything, and like you have to like
you can't use your screen.
Your screen time's cut. Like and I was just like thinking about how I spend my time so much, and it was like, wow, like I care about how I'm spending my time now, because like I don't have as much time. And then my senior year, I actually got another concussion, but it wasn't severe that time.
How you getting these?
It was crazy.
Did you play like sports or anything?
I wasn't even playing sports. Like I'm pretty active. I'm pretty active, but my like sophomore year concussion was because like someone opened a locker above me and I hit my head against it. Still know the person that did that. And then shout out you. My senior year when I got a concussion, it was because I literally was picking something up and I like went up full force.
So both of them was a
it was like under up. Oh my God.
That's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. My senior year made me realize like once I got that second concussion, I was like, oh nah, like I can't waste time. Like I have to be in spaces where I feel like I fully can give my all to it, and like if people are disrespecting me, I can't do it. Like all the beef that I got into in high school, oh my God, it was dumb. It was so dumb.
Especially looking back on it, you're like, what the fuck was I
it was
even
so
doing?
dumb. Like, and then also like you have those people that actually are like rude, and then it's like you say something and the whole world hates you. It's like I'm just being real. Like,
bullshit.
But it's just a big realization that like a lot of my like outlook on life has been like from that point of like, what have I done wrong? How could I be a better person? Because I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I've been perfect my whole life. Like, that's just not true. But, like, from those moments, I was like, how am I spending my time? Am I present? Like, do I care? And that's when I realized a lot of, like, my anxiety spawned from, like, thinking about all these things at once. Like, I still overthink OD. But, like, that was the time where I was like, oh, my God, get it together. Like, know what you're about. Like, be consistent. And that, like, from there, I just kind of ran with it. Like, where I am now is fully because I've just been like reflective of my life in that way.
Those experiences clearly like impacted you.
Yeah, so, big time.
And you wouldn't even think of like little things like that.
Yeah, like thinking back at it now, I'm like, whoa, like that affected me more than I think about.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh my God, F high school. I don't even remember that. Like, I'm gonna just like,
now that you're reiterating it, you're like, wait, that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, like looking back, I'm like, whoa, like. That was not fully me. Like, it's a part of me. Like, that experience is definitely a part of, like, my growth.
Yes.
But that's definitely not the same.
No. You evolve as you get older, so.
I always say, like, life is about evolving. And, like, we're three-dimensional people. Like, we're not the same person that we, like, present to the outside world all the time. Like, we are, like, multidimensional people. We have our, like, bad days, our bad times. We make mistakes, but, like, we grow from there. And that's, like, so important to me. Like, I tell my friends all the time, like, whenever I'm dealing with, like, anxiety or, like, stress or nervousness, I'm like, life is about these, like, failures sometimes. Like, even if it's, like...
Even though when you're in it, it's like,
when you're in it, it's like, yo, I want to die right now.
But once you come out of it, it's like, damn, I, like, learned something about myself.
Yeah.
Like, even if I don't know that now, I will in the future. You didn't know when you got those first 2 concussions. That's really what it was, but
I was like, my brain chemistry is altered right now.
Literally. Don't need shrooms for that shit. Nah, just get a concussion real quick and you're good.
That concussion gonna get you right. Like,
oh my God. Yeah. Bro, so are you like spiritual in any way? Or
yeah, so my parents like raised me like kind of Catholic at a period where I was like going to church consistently. And like I still believe like in higher power and like spirituality, but it's kind of just like I like merge a lot of things, and it's like kind of like my own spiritualism.
Yes.
I definitely do pray though, and like manifestation is big for me.
Yeah.
'Cause I just believe like we all have like a greater purpose, you know? Like I feel like whether like you do that through prayer or like just like simply like wishes or like manifestation or like breathing, I feel like it's so big to like actually sit there and like think of like your purpose, like even if you don't understand it in like the greater scheme, like just think of like the small things you do that you care about, that you want to push forward, like I feel like that's how like I kind of like move through spirituality, because like, you know, like my parents will have me read the Bible and I'm like, wow, I really resonate with this, and like these storylines. I was a big geek actually, and like I used to read like historical books like in middle school. I used to stay at the library I was a big reader. Like I was reading like Nicholas Nickleby. I don't know what was wrong with me. Like big, like Pride and Prejudice in like 7th grade is crazy. Like I don't know.
That is crazy.
But I used to read OD, and I just like used to read these stories and be like, there's like an overlap. Like like the biblical stories, like maybe they resonate like with other storylines, and like they're teaching you something.
They really
so that's
do.
what I'm saying. So I'm like I connect like the spirituality like and all of these beliefs. Like even though like my parents started me with like Christianity, I kind of like take that and like I kind of
make something of your own.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely believe in like a God and like just
a higher power.
Yeah, a higher power.
Yeah.
Like
I
definitely.
feel you. Do you like write stuff down a lot? Like, are you a big writer?
So I feel like I write a lot, but not necessarily in like a like I don't know how to describe it, because I used to journal, but now I'm like I prefer like video diaries and stuff like that. But I've always been told I'm a good writer, and like even in college, like people are like, wow, you write really well. So I'm like, I guess I'm a good writer, but and like clearly I make music, so it's like I write my own music, but I feel like for me, like I do a lot of stuff like artistically, so it'd be like a drawing and then like words coinciding with it. But that's where my music comes in, because I feel like a lot of like my emotional like I guess like reflection is through my music, and you could see that through like my evolution, my discography. It's like I've always been a really reflective person. I write this out like And I'm very particular on tone. I've always said, like, since I was young, I've been so particular on tone. So, like, the way people speak to me, I'm like, I'm so mindful of that. So when I write, like, if it doesn't sound right, I'm like, no, put it away. And I really, like, overthink about, like, how words are said and used and like definitions and stuff. Like I said, I used to be really big with reading. Like my parents used to make me read like thesauruses.
Oh my god!
And so that's why I've always known like really like big words since I was young.
You know
and
how
like
to put them together.
Yeah, like putting words together is like. It's really big to me. I don't know. I'm really particular. So if it doesn't come off right, I'm like, no. Even when I write like Instagram captions, I'm like, let me put an emoji. Because it's not coming across. It's not coming across.
Bro, spending like 30 minutes, emojis I'm going to put?
No,
it's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say also, like, I feel like, I don't know, but your brain to me seems very organized. So it just does, like, the way you're talking, like,
I know,
you're concise.
You're just like going and it's all making sense. I'm like, oh shit.
Like, absolutely.
Like, I hope it makes sense.
No, it definitely.
My brain is not like that. So
no, I be feeling like that too. I'm like, it's crazy that it's coming along like this, but I feel like for so long I struggled to like tell people how I truly felt or like describe what I was feeling. Cause I don't know, I'm really crazy. I've always felt like people don't feel things the way I feel things. Like I'm on another level.
I know.
So like even I tweeted one day, I was like, y'all not listening to music the way I listen to music. Like y'all don't hear it the way I hear it. Like
that's so real.
So I feel like it took me so long to actually get the words right that it's like, I hope it's coming out right. Because even when I speak to other people, I'm like, is this emotion coming off right? Like, oh my God. I was talking.
Because since you're big on tone, you think that you want to be like about what you
I tell my friends
about.
this all the time. I'm like, if I'm talking to you and you can't repeat back to me what I just said, I'm going to re-explain it. And they're like, no, don't do it. Like, we get it. And it's like, you're not getting it the way I say. Like,
no bullshit.
But I think that's like such a cool thing because just experiencing life and like meeting new people all the time, everyone like sees emotions differently and like interprets them differently. And then your words, like that's why I'm big on tone, because like one person can hear a word and be like turned off by it.
That's true.
And so like when I speak to my friends, I'm like, are you getting me? Like, and like it's good to have friends like who do understand, or it's like it doesn't take too much to explain to them. Like they can like sense it, and then like also what you're saying. Like, oh my God, I'm lucky because I have friends who like understand, or like if they don't, they'll tell me. They're like, actually, I don't get it.
Yeah,
like,
that's dope.
And you won't be hurt by it. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
exactly.
You guys are locked in.
Yeah,
I fuck with
most
that.
definitely.
Gots to fucking say what you be about. What was I gonna say, bro? I was gonna say some shit about what the fuck you was just talking about, but my shit ain't clicking like your shit right now.
Oh, what's it?
My shit ain't clicking like your
My
shit.
brain is doing a whole lot of like just
Backflips
being,
right now.
I was literally just gonna say
like,
backflips, yeah. But yeah. Anyways, we'll move on. Actually, let's talk about Static EP.
I feel like it's on the same like wave though of like tone and like expression.
Let's talk about it. So what was the influence behind it? What were you going through when you made that?
Before writing Static, I was writing this project about my life in the moment, and this is like post like lockdown era, where it was just like we were stuck in a house and like limited connections and like feeling like people aren't connected like they were, or like able to connect as much. So like my life was totally different. I hated lockdown. Oh my God, I'm such a people's person.
I hated it.
Like
so
I was just
much.
like, I just want to see people that are not my family.
Literally.
Like, because I have my mom and my dad and then my 4 younger siblings, and I'm like, sometimes I just don't want to talk to y'all. Like, not even because I don't like y'all. Like I love my family, but it's just like y'all are not getting it. Yeah. Like all my younger siblings are like 8 years or more younger than me.
Oh wow, so
my
like
younger sister is 14. So it's like you could almost get it, but you're not there. Like you
wait till you hit 16.
Like she's like starting to get it, but like it's still like a disconnect. But like during that time, I spent so much time on FaceTime with my friends. Like I was like, guys, let's talk. I actually started like a collective at the time. Oh shit. With like a bunch of friends. They're not all in it anymore, but
it'd be like that.
So it's real. But so during my time like during lockdown and like recovering from that. It was just really crazy. And then I actually like pursued a relationship with like a old friend of mine at the time. And like I was so excited. Like they didn't live here. They lived like out of state.
Distance.
So it was long distance, but like it didn't even like start out like we were supposed to be a relationship. Like it was like so messy. Like it was like, oh my God, should I pursue this? And like dealing with the like, oh, like do I have feelings for like a friend? Like, and this was a long-term friend. And then just like feeling love for the first time. Like I went to go see them and it was just like really, really beautiful. So I started writing like about that experience of like having that love, because like I had like crushes and stuff and that I spoke to, but this was like my first time like falling in love with someone. So falling in someone romantically. But yeah, so I started writing about that experience. So you'll hear on Static, like I have the like love songs of like, what is happening? Like I never felt this before. And then like as that relationship like transpired, it was just like, maybe I don't know this person like I thought I did. And like I said, it was a long-term friend, and it was like, holy shit, like you were my close friend and I felt like I knew you like the back of my hand. And then it was just like you turn into another person when you're in a relationship, and like they really did me dirt. Like,
really? I'm sorry to
so
hear
like,
that.
and yeah, so like I had to deal with like the anxiety of like wanting to be in his head and like understand like where they were, like and being there, and like the long distance at the same time, like that's an investment. And like if someone else doesn't want to put the effort in, it's like, oh, like so then I just start like writing over time. I end up like traveling with them and like experiencing all these new things, and then like all of a sudden it's like big cut down, and I'm thinking of the worst things ever, like you got with this person, like you're talking shit about me, like, and mind you, like this is a person like I cared greatly for, like so as I like continue to spiral and like go through this experience, like that's where Static came about. And I actually was still talking to them at the time that I was writing Static, and like I started telling them about the concept, but I'm like, oh, do you know this is really about you? So it's really funny because like it really fell off. I remember my birthday, I was turning 21, so it's December 2021.
You Sag?
Me too.
Sages.
Yeah. And like basically he ends up sending me this message about like or like he like messaged me happy birthday, and he's like, I'll call you later, and it's just like so weird, and he's like so nonchalant. I'm like, oh, I hate this. And then like we just go through this whole thing of me being like, you're like, who are you, basically, and like discovering that like he doesn't care about me. He starts tweeting shit like, oh, I'm a demon for real. I'm like, whoa, that's your persona. Like it was so funny because like I knew deep down that that's not who he was, but like I really had to get it through my noggin that it's like people turn into really crazy things like in certain situations, and like, you know, he had his stuff going on too, like but it's just like the way you treat people is so big, because like how can you treat someone who cared about you so greatly like that? So a lot of Static was like seeing that experience and like having my life happen, like a bunch of crazy shit happening in my life, and then dealing with that love experience like that kind of turned sour, down to the point where like I wanted to know what he was thinking so bad that I was like, can you get on this song? And I it was actually Too Much on the 1-800-222 Much on the album. I was like, can you do a feature on this song? And like he kept being like, I'm gonna get it to you. All right, I'm gonna get it to you. And I think he realized later that I was trying to get him to like say what he was feeling on the track.
That's smart.
Yes.
That is like,
I was trying so hard. I was like, yo, this is the only reason I'm still talking to you. Like, I want to know what you're thinking. Like, down to the point, like, I think like the month before Static hit, I'm like, please. And then I gave up on it. I was like, fuck it. And I decided to like, I was going to have a feature on that song, and then I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to be my own feature on this song. So I switched it up on that song, but like, it was like really about all aspects of life, because like you could think of it like as like fully like a romantic like experience, or you could think about like the fact that like everyone could feel Static and like not know about uncertainty in their life. Like that's a real ass thing to experience. So I feel like for me, Static's like a reflection of life and like one of my toughest times. And I always tell people, like, I'm always going to be Static. Like, a part of me is always going to be Static. But, like, Static at the time, I was fully Static. Like, I was overcome by it. And, like, is like a reflection. I had to let go during that time. Like I sent it to this person. I sent it and they like hearted the message when they first got. They were like, oh, midnight drop. And then they listened to the whole thing, unhearted it, and was like, oh. People start asking me who it's about because some people were close to us. Like, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, can I say it? Like, oh my God. It was crazy. But that was like my cutoff. Like, it was like, wow, I can fully release this person because it's like, I'm disconnected from this. Like, I don't feel like this anymore.
You made it and you can forget about it now. Like, you can move on from
and, like,
it.
even now, like, when I perform Static, like, I'm like, whoa, like, I know at the Static anniversary event, it was, like, crazy for me. Like, I wanted to cry. Like,
I know.
It was
I
crazy.
kept, like, hearing you, like, I'm about to cry right now. Like, don't cap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh
it was crazy doing that because, like, a year of reflection is crazy. Like, that was really a year ago. I don't feel the same. Like, I've grown so much. Like, I've seen so clearly since then. And I realized that it was a learning experience for me, but, like, it was an important one. Like, I definitely... You know, I could have gone without it, but, like, it was a really good learning experience.
No.
And I took it and, like, I ran with it, you know? And thank God for the people I've had, like, surrounding me during this time. Like, oh, my God. Like, everyone around me really lifted me during that time. And I've always felt like a person who, like, tries to lift people around me. And, like, to feel that, like, and feel like a sense of community, like over time from that. The amount of people who've come and told me like, oh my God, I needed Static when it like came out, or like they'll like listen to it now, like they'll go through relationship issues and they're like, yo, Static's hitting right now, and I'm like, yo, I still listen to Static, and I'm like, whoa. Like, it's crazy for me. So moving from that to, like, musically, I'm like, oh, this next shit has to be moving, too. Like, everything I make has to be moving. And I think, like, the singles that I've dropped since Static have also been, like, really true and vulnerable to me. But Static is, like, a crazy album that I'm like, wow. Like, I can't believe I made that.
Yeah,
sometimes,
that's the
like,
milestone.
and I did a lot of production on that. Like, it's my first time releasing a project, or, like, releasing songs that I produced on it. And I worked with some really cool people on that too. Like, the like 3 other producers I worked with on it were like really like good and vulnerable. And yeah, it's a crazy experience. Like, 100% needed something like that to like be able to lift me out of times like that. I really don't know how I would have lifted myself out of times like that without like writing about it and being like, yo, like
it seems
some
like
of
a
these
very
songs,
like emotional experience for you, which is like makes the best work.
Some of these songs, like I wrote like months before I dropped. Like maybe like some of them were like a year before I actually dropped Static. So it was crazy to like hear that and like experience that for real.
That's wild. I was gonna ask you, you have like so many friends like in the creative industry around here. How did you like get to know everybody?
So when I started, or actually let me say, in high school I was into poetry. I also luckily had like Instagram as a crutch. And back in the day, I had like a big spam page and like was connected with mad people all over the globe, but like especially nationally. And so I just like would connect with people through socials, but I've always been a social media kid. So like Vine era, I was on that. Like even like MySpace or High Five, y'all remember that? Like we used to make accounts like illegally. I know you're supposed to be like 13 plus. And I don't think they had like age 13. Restriction at the time. But I used to be on there like finding people. Like I remember when MySpace got closed down, I was like 7. Like it was crazy, but I've always been an internet kid. So like the internet has always been my resource. But then once I started school, or like end of high school-ish, like I was really into poetry. I had a lot of poetry friends. So I found out a lot about a lot of people then. But then once college hit, like I met a lot of people, and I'm big for diversity. So I was really big with like the diversity scene on my campus. That was the only year I had ever lived on campus. And this is like right before the pandemic hit. So I was like getting all the connections I could get. But truly, like I got really, really close to people during the pandemic when I was like only talking online. Like people talking about my Twitter. I'm like, Twitter was really a big connector tool for me because I'm finding all these people in the community.
That's
I'm like,
so true.
You're from Boston? Oh my God. And I have like art friends in New York who are like, yo, once this shit's over, like we gotta come and connect. Like, so I feel like I sparked this connection because like I had a lot of friends at school who were in like the artistic community. So shouts out people like Dubem or Calvin Klein Caterpillar. He was like one of the people that was like, yo, like yeah, there's definitely a scene, like, and you could immerse yourself in it. Like, I had known about it, but it was just like breaking yourself in.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just like I kept meeting people, connecting with people. And yeah, like, there was a point, I think, truthfully, like, I think it was like November 2021 where it was like I really started getting connected with people. So I went to Thrill, and Dubem was having a performance at Thrill for his release of Opal Overload, which was one of his, I think, his first project to drop on streaming platforms. And I was pushing. I was like, "You're crazy! Why are you not dropping music?"
Yeah.
Like, he was dropping on SoundCloud. I was like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" And he has a poetry background, so he's used to like performing and like having to share things like that. But like for him, he's like, "Yo, people want to listen to this?" Like, and I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So he has me like feature on that project. And like I did that performance in November, and that's when I really, really got hip to Thrill. Like, I knew about Thrill, like, and I knew what they were developing, and I knew about like the community, but like I said, like, I really was like meeting people then. So I was meeting people like Steph, and I think I met like part of Colors there, Colors, the group. Yeah, they, like, really, I met a lot of people during that time, and from there, like, it just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Like, so I just continued to meet like artsy people. Like, I really, really loved it because I felt like before, my exposure to like the art community in the scene was like from a glance. So people would be like, "Oh, like, that girl comments on my page," or like things like that. I'm like, "Oh, like, that's how you know me, I'm a fan." But like, I'm not mad to be a fan. Like, I'm the biggest fan. I will scream and holler for anybody that I like fully support and like believe in. Like,
and I love that about you, because a lot of
unconditionally.
people are like Hollywood when it comes to that shit.
Oh, most
and
definitely.
like reserve their like energy for shit like that. And it's like, bro, just, you know.
Oh, I'm the biggest.
love.
Oh my God.
You're like the biggest
Yeah.
supporter.
I will be
sure.
screaming in the crowd, losing my voice. I don't care. Like, even at the Static show, I was like, I wish this could be somebody else's show, because like I was in the crowd screaming. I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta sing." Like, yo, people were like,
That's gotta be me up
"TT."
there,
I was like, yo. But I feel like for me, like I said, like, unconditionally, if I resonate with your music, I'm going to support you. I'm gonna post it on every platform. Like, I don't care if you see me. Like, if I believe in it, I believe in it. And like, that's the way I move. And like, I think that's a part of the reason why I've like connected with so many people in the scene. It's because like I like have that support and belief in people. And like, I love to like mutually like put the battery in people's back. Like, you need to see this. Like, you don't even know. And I don't think people can like even conceptualize how big their art can get. Like, think about some of our favorite artists and how like they were doing shit on the low. Like, they weren't even doing like things to like blow up for real. Like, they didn't fully expect it or fully see where they could go, you know? So like, I feel like if you apply that to your friends, like on the lowest of keys, like, y'all could blow up. And I fully believe that like me and a lot of my friends are gonna be like next up here, and especially in the scene. Like, most definitely.
Especially when you're genuine about it.
Literally.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing wrong can come from
I
that.
always say, I laugh at this because a lot of people like want to blow up to get money, and like, fair, you want to take care of the people around you and stuff like that. But it's just like, if you chase these material things, you're never gonna like actually feel something or feel like you
and it's never gonna
something.
take you like it's only gonna take you so
like you're
far.
gonna get the bands and then what? Like you haven't achieved love, friendship, like any new experiences, challenging yourself. Like, you just got to the money, so now what? Like, you're gonna waste the money. Like,
And
I
that's
don't
what
even know.
happens. You can tell too, like when people are like that and they blow up, you can see who's actually about like the art, and who's just wants money. And like, that's what they're gonna do. That's fine, but it's completely different. I feel you.
Most definitely.
Or for people doing it for like clout and shit. Like
It's, you can see how like it's not genuine, and like I think even on socials, like people start to see the people who are just trying to blow up. Like, that's why algorithms are changing. It's like, oh, you can't do the same shit just to get famous. Like, and you're not gonna like upkeep that fame. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
for real.
for sure.
Who's some of your favorite artists?
Like, locally or like
All.
Oh my God, this is so hard. This is so hard. Oh my God, people always ask me like my top 10, my top 5, and I'm like,
It's so hard to pick.
It's
Like,
like,
it's so number.
But oh my God, this is hard. So I feel like for music artists, Calvin Klein Caterpillar, Dubem, who I mentioned, Nate Nix, who I worked with recently, Key, Tomo, Retro, Shondell,
okay.
right now. be like, oh my God, I can name for ages. Like literally anyone in the community, like Clark D, Maystar, like anyone who's like really been around. Like I'm telling you, like I could go on for days.
I know.
I remember y'all tweeted like who are some artists that like y'all support, and I'm like I was like I could keep going. Like I'm telling you, like I try to make playlists, and I'm like, yo, I want to get every Boston artist in here, but like just definitely a lot of the people who have been like surrounding me and helping me, like the OGs, like Kareem, like doing the chamber with Kareem was crazy because I'm like, this my OG, like yo, what the heck? But like locally, oh my God, so many inspirations.
Too many to name.
On the bigger scale, a lot of the greats, like Brandy is like one of my big artists that like has changed my perspective. I'm big into like both like the mainstream artists and like the underground artists. So like I was listening to Doja Cat before she like really blew up, like 2013 type shit.
Before
and like
Move.
Literally. And like to see her like expand, like it's been one of the most inspirational like things to see. And she like sings, raps, produces. She does a lot of like what I do. So it's crazy to see like Chloe and Halle, for example, like they were doing shit like producing by themselves. Coming from YouTube covers is crazy. Like I could go on for days. Like Beyonce clearly has like a big performance and like just artistic like inspiration. I'm like big into like older R&B, so like music Soul Child, but then like old rap producers like Jay Dilla. Oh my God, big on that. Nuja Bees, like and then also like for old rap, like a lot of like Big L and just like A Tribe Called Quest, like a lot of just old, like new and old, most definitely. Timbaland's one of my biggest like production inspiration. And people tell me, they're like, I can hear it, like when you put that big ass fucking kick in the song, like I hear it. But yeah, like it's just so much like MIA, like oh my God, oh my God. And then for like newer artists like Rosalia, like seeing her do crazy shit. I saw her live, bro, and I'm like, you did?
Damn.
Bro, that show was crazy. I'm like,
so was it in Boston?
It was at the MGM Music Hall.
Shit.
Oh my God.
When was that?
That was September.
I was like, it had to be like recent.
Yeah. So that was crazy. I was like, oh my God. But like, just I'm big into like different cultural music too. So like seeing like someone who isn't speaking English all the time, like do crazy shit like that, it's like inspired me to do experimental stuff like within my cultures too.
That's dope.
So yeah, I could really go on for days with artists, but oh my God, so much inspiration for that.
That is a fire lineup.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So it seems like you're really into like performance culture and stuff like that. What is your background in performing, and like what was your first time performing like?
So I mentioned before that I did theater, but I really like learned how to perform from there. Like it wasn't just, and I remind myself all the time, it's not just like you get on the stage for your time and then you go. Like you have to remind yourself that like someone gave you this time, or like you were given the time. So like in purpose, like you were given the time to share like your talents to other people. And for me, like I make a lot of vulnerable music, so a lot of people like resonate with it. So like they'll hear it live and they're like, wow. I had like friends who didn't even know that I like really performed like that, and they see me perform live and they're like, this is the first time I've seen you and you like really do this shit. And I'm like, thank you. Like,
that was our first time seeing you perform live at the Static
anniversary.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
The whole like vibe too. Like everybody was feeling it. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I love like intimate performances. So like for me, that's why after high school I stopped performing really for a little bit, and then like I remember after like lockdown happened, I was like, where can I like perform? Because a lot of places for you to perform there, they ask you to like have like a video of you performing. So I know like for the So Far Sounds thing, they're like, send us a video of you performing, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't have any video of me performing by myself.
Yeah, does it have to be like at a venue, or just like could it be like a video of you in like your room?
So
like,
I think they do allow you to do a video in your room, but the thing about that is I feel like they like invalidate it a little bit. So like I was like, where can I go and I could like perform out loud in front of people, even if it's a small crowd. And I start performing at this cafe called Gulu Gulu Cafe in Salem, and they're like, oh, we have open mic on Thursdays. and you guys can come in, bring in an instrument. And I came in with my electric ukulele, and I was like, I'm gonna try it, because I haven't performed like as a soloist in in a million years. Even in like chorus, I used to like perform, like do solos, but it's like you get that one second line. It's like that one line, and then sometimes you don't even get the line. So just like performing as a soloist has been a completely different experience to like performing like in a chorus or a choir. So for me, like I kind of like had to restart and like start doing open mics and like going to random spots and like just taking the mic, you know. So that's why I'm also big on like seeing how people perform, and like I feel like when you see people perform, like some songs hit different too.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my God. I feel like even for Rosalia, I was like, yo, this just like respawned my connect with this album. Like, but yeah, I feel like for me, I think theater helped me be like, have more expression. Like it helped me like open up, like having facial expressions isn't bad. Like you don't have to be stoic. Like you can move around and you could have that. But I had to like discover by myself like what kind of solo performer I was. But I will say, I think I've always had like a thing for performing, because like doing presentations in high school was like, it didn't scare me. I'd like get up there and I'd be like, all right, guys. It was just like talking to people normally. So I just had to like build up from there and like feel confidence in my own art, like feeling confident in my music and being like, oh, people should hear this. Like, this is good. And I still struggle with that. Sometimes I'm like, yo, maybe people don't fuck with this. Like, especially with my sadder songs, I'm like, are you sure this not gonna scare the hoes? I don't know, guys. I get scared sometimes, but like some people come up to me after and they're like, I love that song now. Like, oh my God. And it's like cool to see like the evolution of my performances, because like even beginning of last summer, I had like a little bit of like hesitance performing, and now it's like I get on the stage and it's like, all right, everyone come to the front. Like,
That's fire.
So it's really cool to see, and like I'm only getting better as a performer, so the more opportunities I get, more coming, by the way, like the more I get excited to like do new shit and like work on my new album. I'm like, I can share the leaks now. Like, y'all are not ready.
I love that. That's crazy, because like usually people are like so anxious when it comes to that stuff. So how do you kind of like manage that? I know it must have been a weird transitioning from going from like being like background like ensemble in like the theater on stage, but like it's completely different, like you said, being a soloist. So like how was that transition, and how, if you have any advice for anybody like listening, you know, like in terms of like like dealing with stage fright and things like that?
Oh my God. So the first thing, the like imagining people naked thing doesn't work.
No.
I feel like for me, you just have to know, like you have to take that moment in the present and be like, you were given a platform, like you were given the opportunity to do this. And then from there, it's like, don't even worry about what the crowd's gonna think. Cause like sometimes crowds are ass, but if you assert like your dominance and you like know your identity and you come up there and you're like, I'm Teatea, like people are gonna be like, oh shit, this is Teatea. As opposed to being like, hi, I'm shy. Like people are gonna be like, why do I have to watch this? Okay. So like you have to come with that confidence, and like I said, it doesn't come overnight, but like you have to kind of like believe in yourself first, and then believe that like you were given the opportunity, so like there's a reason, like there's a purpose at the end of the day for you doing that. I think also for me, like I think reminding yourself that like nobody knows your mistakes. Oh my God, the amount of times like I purposefully will be like, I'm changing the lyric on this, let's see if people peep. Like, I'll be like, I don't feel like this anymore. At the Static Show, I was like, I don't feel like this anymore. Let me change the lyric. Or like, like on one song I said, I just turned 21. I was like, well, I'm 22. But like, nobody knows your next move. Nobody knows the mistakes you're making. Like, unless you told them. Yeah. But like,
unless you make it apparent.
Yeah. So like, don't sit here and shame yourself, or don't feel guilty or embarrassed. Like, just take that moment to shine and like be present and like be thankful for that in the moment.
I love that. I love that.
Do you do a lot of traveling? Or do you want to?
I feel like I'm getting back into my travel bag.
Okay.
Me, like, I have to renew my passport. I just remember that. But 2021, I went to Vegas for a day in Vegas.
Oh, shit.
And that was so cool. It was my first time on the West.
2021?
2021.
I think
Dane Vegas.
Sid went there.
Yeah,
I think Sid went there. One of our friends,
God.
I think, went to that literally.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had never been to a festival before.
Oh, shit.
And I feel like it was the best one. The people weren't overcrowded. It was outside. Like, oh my God, I was safe. And it was right after the stuff that happened at Astroworld. So everyone was extra cautious.
Yeah.
I'm like, I came out the best time.
No, you actually did.
Yes.
Before that,
It was bad.
Everybody was just on rage
heard.
time, bro.
I heard.
it was really bad.
So like I went to Vegas during that time, and that was my first time being on the West Coast. Hopefully I get to go to Cali soon. But yeah, like getting that opportunity made me be like, wow. But before that, I had gone to Georgia in like that July or June, and like it was a cool experience because like I have a lot of Southern friends, and like I like used to go to Florida with my family because I have family out there. But like it was definitely like interesting to go by myself because like traveling with family also is different from like traveling by yourself and like getting to be free and stuff.
So
as dangerous as it is, it's like yes, like I could go and do crazy stuff. My parents can't see me.
Those are the only times I wish I was a guy, bro, because guys can really just fucking take off, like no mace in their pocket, bro. Like
yeah, I like me with my knife in my pocket, like I can go and do crazy things. But yeah, like going to different places, like going to Georgia with friends at the time, like was cool because it was just like, wow, like I could see a like different world. People are different. I love accents. Like I love reading accents and guessing them. And so like it was fun to like be like, wow, like you Georgia people talk like this, huh? I'm in ATL, like
vibe.
whoa. Yeah. But yeah, like I consistently go to New York because I have family out there, but I've been performing out there more. And like I like always see my friends out there. But I want to make that more consistent, especially after graduating, so I have more time.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, I want to leave the country more. I have never gone to my parents' home country, so like I like want to like take the opportunity to do that. Like, my parents also haven't been to their home countries in all this time since they've come to America. So like it's like whoa, like it's gonna be a different place when y'all go too. Like it's not gonna be the same. So I feel like I want to like take more opportunity to do that and like hopefully like oh my God I get big soon and I get to tour and like do stuff like that because like I want to make more like multilingual music and like do more like cultural stuff.
That's dope.
So definitely want to do more.
Do you speak different languages?
Yeah, so I like fluently, or I guess I could say fluently because they say fluent is like as long as you could have consistent conversation with people. So I guess I fluently speak French. And then my parents speak Creole. My mom speaks Creole and my dad speaks Lingala. My dad speaks 5 languages.
That's crazy.
So like, yeah, like their home languages, like I fully understand them. Now I'm like gaining the confidence because I feel like tone for those languages is different. Like when I speak in those languages, I'm like, hey, like don't judge me. But I fully understand what they say, like, and I could definitely speak it. It's just like having like the confidence to speak to different people. And like, you know, pushing that forward. But yeah, I speak French too, and like even having that, like I understand other languages more. My mom speaks fluent Spanish too. Oh shit. And like I could like understand her. I'm like speak slow, but like I understand. And I learned a lot of Latin growing up with like the thesauruses. So like root words, I'm like, oh, I understand this for other languages too.
It's interesting. Latin's interesting because it's like not a spoken language. I took a class in like 8th grade, but it was really interesting.
They didn't have that available in my school. I wanted to take
I went to an online school.
I'm like, you could probably do a spelling bee after learning all of Latin after that. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Do you speak it in the house?
I grew up speaking it in the house. Like when I was growing up, like my parents really used to speak French, like OD to me. Yeah.
Was it just French or like Creole French?
It was just a mix, and I think that's why like some of the languages I'm like I don't speak right. Like cause like for Lingala, like sometimes they mix French with the like language to like build like full sentences, and same with Creole. It's like a mix of all these languages from that. So like we mixed it up a lot. Like we speak Franglish. Like it's funny, but like now we don't speak it as much, and I'm trying to like reintroduce it because my siblings don't know anything. Oh really? So I'm like, damn, y'all gotta learn something because at least I got that. But
I know when you're like as younger, years get older. I mean, years go on, like you just speak more English in the house, especially like being first gen. Like it's comes with being Americanized, basically.
Most definitely. Yeah.
But what are your other hobbies?
I feel like I'm a big film connoisseur. Like, oh my God, I love to watch movies, horror movies,
What are some of your
thrillers.
favorites? Yeah. And genre?
Favorite genres are gonna be probably like horror or thriller, mystery stuff. I love stuff that'll like get under my skin. I think that's a reason why I got over a lot of my anxiety, because I started watching like a crazy amount of horror movies.
So weird you say that.
Like middle school, like I literally
was talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I like came up with this whole theory. I was like, I think I like actually got over anxiety because like I was just watching so many horror movies that it was like
you're like exposing yourself to anxiety.
Yeah, and the second I stopped watching them like consistently, like I haven't had as much time to watch films, but like the second I stopped watching them consistently, I was like, I feel like creeping back. Like I gotta watch a horror movie now.
You might be onto something.
No bullshit. That is a good theory because like you get like your anxiety out watching something.
You get so anxious.
Yeah. Like, I have a lot of.
Like, I know you be getting super anxious watching.
But it prepares you. It's like, oh my God, I'm doing the breathing exercises now. Like nothing will shock me later. Like sometimes people are like, TT, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm good. Like I don't know what. Like I can feel everything. But yeah, so for me, I love like horror and thriller, but I love a good coming of age movie too. Like I watched this movie, I think it was called Honey, and I like shockingly liked it. Or like American Honey. It was something like that. Yeah, I gotta find the poster for that, but it was really, really good. I love A24 films, so like Hereditary and Midsommar were my favorite movie. I watched them like
don't even get me started,
bro. Hereditary, I watched it 5 times, and every time I found something new in it, literally. And I was like, "Whoa, Ari, I love you." I was trying to marry the director, like I was like, "Damn." But I also watched this movie Good Times with Robert Pattinson. It was on Netflix, I believe, or something like that. And it was the movie. Actually, let me not spoil it, but it was just basically about 2 brothers and they like get in trouble. Okay. But they go through this whole journey, and I was like, it's an A24 film. I knew it. I feel like their movie selection is so good. Like,
have you ever watched Mid-90s?
Yes. Wait, did you really like that movie? Bro. I was like, I like it, but I don't. But I like it.
It's like those plotless films.
It was like a coming of age.
Yes, like I just love those plotless.
It was definitely coming of age because I was like, oh, why did mom let him do that?
Yeah, no bullshit.
And I love Nakel Smith, so like, oh my God, that's my bae. So.
Knock,
and his music is fire. People sleep on him.
They really do, bro.
Like, I was trying to see him perform in New York. Every time I miss it, like, and I'm pretty sure he's related to somebody that I know. So I'm like, that's yo, like,
crazy.
That it's something that like they know each other. So I'm like, y'all know each other. Like, when's the next performance? But I'm pretty sure he lives on the West Coast or something like that.
He probably does.
Yeah. So
everybody a part.
I'm trying to see Nakel Smith live, and the new stuff that he's been putting out is crazy. Like,
I need to tap in, bro.
Yeah, it's so good.
Cause Trash Wang has my heart.
Yep.
Like.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
His feature on that.
That's
was
what
crazy.
I literally saw something on Twitter, like that verse, like the other day, like thinking about it. And people were like, you would have never thought Nakel is where he is now, like when you heard this.
And like with skateboarding too, like I had my little mini skateboard era. I'm not that good now, like,
Bro,
but
pennyboards, like, the go-to.
Pennyboard, yes,
they're the go-to.
Like, you get it.
Yes,
but
bro. I have that shit in my trunk, bro. I keep that bitch on me. Keep that bitch on me, because skateboards are scary. Like they actually be
get it.
It's a wobbler, bro.
It's so funny because I always tell people, I'm like, you know, like my little skateboarder era, and it was me on my pennyboard, like riding with my friends. I said, at least I can stop this thing. Like, but yeah, like I feel like it's interesting to see like the places that people go, because even like Nakel, like. You like skateboarding, like then you start rapping, then you start acting, like whoa, and then he does like so much like creative direction for his own artistry. Like it's cool to see. Like
it's
oh my
God, for real.
I love
you
that
can
shit.
do all this shit, bro.
And like Jasper now be in fucking movies all the time.
Yeah, and Taco.
No,
Taco be on.
Yeah, he is on.
Bro, I'm telling you, everyone in Odd Future's like evolution. Like I was a big Odd Future kid. Oh my God,
same.
I had that donut hoodie. Oh my God, but I feel like it spawned like a next level like thought for creativity, and like that's why like I'm so big on like community too, because it's just like you guys can go anywhere. Like even if you were to like disband or like separate, like you can acknowledge that you grew together in that time. That's so big to me.
I know.
Oh my God.
I agree.
And I feel like that's what their vibe pretty much is.
They all support each other still. Like, think about Earl. Earl be like, yeah, I'm gonna catch you on the flip, bro. Like,
Earl's funny.
I'm like, yes. Earl just be keeping it low key. He's like, all right, I do what I do.
He really do be keeping it low key, bro.
He be cracking me up on Twitter. His tweets are actually so fucking funny.
He's so funny. You peeped his tweet about Boston?
Yes.
What he say?
He said Boston like a ghost town or something.
I don't find it.
Oh my god.
Bro, like, don't do us, bro.
I was like, we're working on it. We here. We building something right now. We building something.
It's under construction. Shit. Give me a minute. Fuck.
When people come here and they're like, yeah, I loved it here. And I'm like, yes, you're seeing what we're building right now. I wish they could like come and see like more of our art scene. So we're definitely like developing it more. But like, I have a lot of friends who don't live here who I'm like, come back. I will literally bring you on a tour, and I'm gonna show you how fucking cool we are and how crazy we get over here.
Cause LA got its name, fucking Miami got its name, like Las
Gotta
Vegas got its name.
I feel like even like other places where like they were like always kind of like talented like artistically, like I think like ATL has been like really rising in terms of their scene, like their underground scene's kind of rising too, like, and I have a lot of friends who are out there too, and it's crazy to see like how their community building has brought them so far. Like the amount of people I know, like I know this rapper Mercury. I just saw her perform in New York, but like I had her as like a mutual on Instagram for the longest, and like seeing her like start on SoundCloud, putting out like these freestyles, and then like seeing her blow up, doing crazy shit. Like you always were this crazy and talented, but like the building of a community like can blow you up so much.
Did she move to ATL or she been there?
So she's from ATL. She's like ATL born and raised, I'm pretty sure. And then like I think she just like as she's grown, like she's been traveling more. So I seen her in New York for the first time IRL, and I'm like, like she peeped me in the crowd. She was like, Teatea. I'm like, Mercury, yo. I'm like, Merc, what the fuck? Like
that's crazy.
And it's crazy to like know people that have gotten to that level. Like I have so many friends who like keep reaching bigger goals. Like Merc literally went on tour with Mike and Nikel actually. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like you're crazy, and you've been new. I remember like she has this one song called Rocket, and I'm like, you needed to perform that. She's like, that old ass song. Like I'm like, you need to perform that. Like
people need to hear this.
The people need to hear this. Like, but yeah,
it's
that
such
evolution,
a refreshing like energy.
It's beautiful because I'm like, I've been rooting for you. Like I remember we took a picture after the show, and she like reposted my picture when I posted it, and she was like, Teatea been listening to my shit. And I was like, I've been known, and that's what I'm saying. Like the genuine care for the music, like. Regardless, I'm always gonna sit here and support her because she's been killing it, like, and she just built that, you know. That's crazy to see. And there's so many artists like beyond just musically, like in terms of like styling and like I know this one person, they go by Soul, and they make like they started making plushies and like tote bags, and it went to like even they have like a cherry love seat. If you want to search I think it's like Can't Kill My Soul, but it's SOL. Oh my God, her stuff is crazy.
I feel like I've definitely seen.
Yeah, you've definitely seen. She worked with Tia Corinne to make like a custom plush. Like,
that's fucking crazy, bro.
It's crazy because it's like, yo, she's been doing art, and to see her evolution, I'm like, yo, you're dope. You're dope. Like, it's crazy.
I love that.
Me, like, everyone's literally like getting the chance to blow as long as they like believe in themselves and like they have a group of people that believe in them. Like. Because it takes investment. Like, it's not easy. Like, you have to invest time, money, like, everything. But once you get to that level, like, you really reap the benefits. And, like, I see it for so many people in the community right now.
Yeah, it is kind of... I feel like it's like a domino effect, honestly. Because there's... Not that there hasn't been shit going on. There's always been stuff going on around here. But people are starting to see it, like you were saying. So, it's crazy to see.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about styling. Let's talk a little bit about your little you and Savim.
Yeah. Yo, did you peep? I was like, Savim. Bro, she hates that. She's like, it's an A upside down.
Bro, when she mentioned that, I was like, that's actually so stupid. Like, are people dumb? Like, obviously it's Sam.
No, it's bad. No, we joke about it. Like, we went to the Color Factory in New York, and like we had to write our names, like our opposite names, and I put Savim. I was like, I put Savim. And like it's so funny, but like, oh my God.
Gabe was like, what does that stand for? And she's like, it's Sam.
It's just I can see her saying that, so she's like, it's actually Sam. But
yeah,
so I met
style
Sam in school. So
Okay.
Sam was a junior when I was a freshman, I think, and we took a communications class together. But like immediately, like I connected with her. She was so cool. She actually knew some friends that I had in New York, and I was like, damn, like how have we never met? Because she actually lives like not far from me, in Mass. Like, so it was like mad cool, and we were like getting closer, and then pandemic hit, and then you know like the disconnections came, and then we reconnected that next year. And like we were just like, damn, like where have you been type shit. So we just like continued to get closer from that moment. And I had always, like I mentioned before, like I wanted to be a model when I was in kindergarten. Like, so I always had like an eye for fashion, but sometimes when you're like doing music or you're doing like a specific art, other people are like, well, you can't do this. Like, I know people are like, oh, you paint? And I'm like, damn, like
why am I getting
I can't paint. Did you know I could draw? Like, but so Sam really, I appreciate Sam so much because like she just like allowed me to have like a lot of creative freedom and like appreciated me like in a time when I was like, well, people not really fucking with me on that sense. Like people not even fully fucking with the music. I'm like, I don't know what I could do. And Sam was like, Teatea, like you actually have an eye for this and like you're creative. So like gradually like me and Sam like keep hanging out and like you know, we keep just like going out, and ironically we're putting fits together, and it's like, yo, we kind of eating. And Sam had been doing the like styling thing and like making the fashion bundles. But I was like, pushing Sam to do her shit. I was like, you need to bring that back, and you need to start posting more, and like you need to do this and this, and like I think it kind of like we both like had like a magnetic energy because we both like inspire each other and motivate each other to like do more. But Sam was like, Teatea, like, you know, like we could do this together type shit. So like she really like had pushed me like to another level to be like, actually take this seriously, you know? And I forever appreciate that, but that's like where we're evolving right now. So like we've been like styling a lot of artists lately and like doing a lot of performance styling as well as myself, like
of course.
So yeah, it's been really cool to like be on this journey of like learning more about styling and like realizing like what's like really important. Like it's not just like the brand names, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people get caught up in like, oh, I put a brand name on, I'm flexing. Like you actually look like shit right now.
No bullshit.
But I think that like for me, fashion is so big because like everyone has a different lens, and you go to different places, like, and you peep that like everyone has a different background, and like their staples are different, and like making that like stylistically whole. Like every time we style someone, it's like, what do you feel like what do you want to feel like on the stage? And that's been so big for me because I've been like, oh yeah, like it goes back to me, and like when I'm performing, how do I want to feel? Like, do I want to feel like the coolest bitch in the room? Like so it's been cool to like go through this journey, and like Sam teaches me so much because Sam actually went to school for fashion. I like take fashion courses at my school because we went to the same school, and it's a fashion school. But like I feel like every day I like just get exposed to more and more like creative stuff and like things that I thought were crazy or things that I thought were weird. Is like, all right, why the fuck do I care? I've always been someone who's like, all right, whatever. Like even in high school, I used to do the monochromatic fits, and people used to be like, yo, they used to like laugh at me in hallways, and it was just like, you're mad because I'm flexing. You're mad.
You're mad because I'm different. Like,
most definitely. I feel like it's just like allowed me to feel a new sense of appreciation for fashion because I've always loved it. But just being able to get to that level and like appreciate investments and like different styles. We thrift a lot, so it's like taking that and like making something out of nothing, or like completely switching the vision of something. Like I remember when we did the BMA look for Key, I was like, put the pants on as a top.
Put the fucking pants.
And we tried with another bottom because I had made the custom pants for Key first, and you know she was just gonna wear it traditionally, and I was like, wait, put it on your arms. Like I think it's like we just try, and it's about experimentation. Like people don't realize like fashion is trying shit on. Like my closet is a mess because I was trying on like 8 things, literally. Like, and I had to get it right, you know. So just appreciating that and having like a new lens for fashion, like, and doing it with like my close friend, like, oh my god, like wouldn't trade it for the world type shit.
Especially when you guys appreciate each other.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you're like on the same. It's interesting that both of you two like are on the same wavelength when styling people.
It's funny because like we do have disagreements. Like people are like, oh, do y'all just like think the same? And it's like we have a lot of similar thinking, but like sometimes Sam can't see what I'm trying to say, and I'm like, let me put it on the pants, and show you. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of fashion is convincing. Like some styles, like some style trends, people were like, and then it's convincing that shit looks good. Like think about like the whole like babushka look, how people were like, oh, it's like traditional, and like it literally became trendy. Like ASAP Mob doing that shit, like Gucci trying to like change that shit, like and shift it. Like think about all of those trends.
That's
like
so true.
And how cool that is. Think about like distressed denim. Like people thought that was crazy once upon a time. I think about that so much because it's like, think about the 80s when people thought you were like dressing raunchy for like having like tights on. Like now people walk around with yoga pants and people are mad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's funny because it's just like everything is experimenting. Everything is like trying it out and doing it and going out and like confidently doing it. The amount of fashion pioneers who like started off and like people were like, you look like shit. Yeah. And then next thing you know, they're getting the fashion deal. They're directing, like creative directing the next fashion show. Like, don't ever tell me my shit is ass. Like,
no bullshit.
That's so true.
But you have to take that like with a grain of salt because like you have to take criticism too. Like sometimes it's really ass, like and it doesn't work. Yeah. But like you have to try it out and move with confidence, and then you know from there you try it out and see how it looks and if it's cool. But yeah, most definitely thankful for the journey of like being able to grow like stylistically with Sam.
That's dope.
Where do you want to take it?
I think like for me, it's interesting because like I do a lot of like artistic things, but like I really enjoy like styling people for performances. Like it's really what I enjoy. I'd love to do a fashion show though. Like I'd love to like creative direct. I'm not necessarily that good at sewing. Like I have like sketch pads and I have ideas. I do like custom pants, so I wear those out sometimes and like I create those. But I'd love to like have like creative direction of a fashion show and like work with like another fashion designer like Sam and like actually construct shit like and make it a thing. You know what I'm saying? Sam talks about like fashion show layouts all the time, and like a lot of people in the scene want to do fashion shows, especially like this fashion season coming up. Yeah. But like my school has a fashion show every year. Like it's a really big thing. And it brings you like a new appreciation for all levels because like first years have to go in and design something, and sometimes it's like, oh, the measurements are iffy, but like that's where you start. No one started and it was like, all right, I got the measurements down. It looks fitted all right away. Like stitching's all right first round. Like it's not. And a lot of people in the community who like have brands like Tomo, who's doing both as well. Like for him to have a brand and like to be showing the different lens of like, I dye this shit myself. I do one of ones. Like I sew this shit. Like I embroidered this. Like that shit's so cool to see. And like having that grow. My mom also has always been good with like fashion. And she used to like alter my clothes for me when I was growing up. So like it's been cool to see because like she has like a fashion vision too, but it's different from mine. Sometimes I go out, my mom's like, take that off, and I'm like, I'm going out.
See you later.
My mom would be like, you look crazy, but
my favorite is when my grandparents be like, did you get a discount for the Rip Singing jeans? I'm like, nope, they were actually more expensive. Thank you.
Yeah, oh my God, it's crazy because my mom's family, like, some of her family, like, my grandparents are, like, a little more traditional. So, like I'm like, oh,
can't wear a crop top.
Am I okay to wear this? Yeah. Like, but it's interesting because, like, culturally, too, like, fashion has been crazy in trends, too. So, like, for me, like, Haitians and Congolese people have been crazy with fashion, like, and, like, custom prints, like, Ankara, all that stuff. So, I'm like, this is interesting to see, you know, like.
And you can still rock that shit today.
Facts.
Deadass.
You have any, like, designers that you, like, dream collabs with designers and, like, music, anything?
Yeah. So, dream collabs with designers, it's interesting because you have a lot of, like, new up-and-coming designers who aren't getting the light that they deserve. Yeah. And, like, they're starting trends and they're getting ripped off. Yeah. Like, I see a lot of that. I think her name is Dante Phantom, but there's this brand that they, like, started, like, a pleat design, and, like, trended through like the 2010s and still to this day. And Dante is really cool. Like, I've been supporting her for a long time, for a couple of years, and like she actually styled Azealia Banks for like a couple of shows, like did custom sets for Azealia and the band and the dancers. That's like crazy. And that's one of the designers I've been really like having an eye on. But I also have like a lot of like fashion inspo, like Wisdom Kai, I think that's the name.
That sounds familiar.
It's the guy who does like the high end fashion versions of like characters, or he'll do like on a budget like fashion, and he started doing videos in his bedroom, and like now he's collabed with like Gucci or some shit.
Damn.
Yeah, like I definitely want to work with a lot of people who I see like similarities in, and they've done things that I've always wanted to do. With music collaborations, it's like, I think it's cooler to think about because like you never know how they're gonna end up. Like for me, since I'm so versatile and I do like different genres, it's like I don't even know when I walk in the studio sometimes like what genre I'm gonna make with other people, or like what I'm gonna do. A lot of it's like on the spot what I come up with. But I have a lot of collaborations I want to do, on the mainstream level or like bigger artist level. I have a lot of like OGs, like Brandy. Oh my God. If someone told me I could collab with Brandy, I'm gonna cry. Yeah. Like Timbaland, oh my God. Pharrell. If I like, a lot of it's production. So like, if I got in the studio with Timbaland, I'd be done. Yeah. Like, oh my God. But I feel like for me, I'm so open to different like musical artists and like different stuff. Like I had like a really big like era where I was listening to like Korean music often, like middle school, high school. Okay. And like there's so many artists from there that I've always wanted to collab with. Like there's this producer named Mokyo, and he produces for a lot of like bigger artists out there, and his production is crazy. This man barely speaks English, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to Korea, and I'm gonna get in the studio. Like I don't care if I need a translator, like I'm gonna do it. Like his production is crazy, and like he works with a lot of my other favorite artists from Korea, and it's like, whoa, it's crazy. Like the production is crazy over there.
I need to check them out.
Yeah, like I'll send you some stuff.
Because I feel like producers are
underrated. Oh my God,
so fucking important.
Can I just say, I want to do something out here where it's like a producer like session where they talk about like their like style and how they developed it, and then they show people, but like in person, not like a video. Because like we've been doing stuff for like a lot of like musical artists, like performers, like the Chamber is like a big thing that's highlighted that for people. But I want that to be done for producers and DJs.
Yes, I agree.
I definitely want to see that done, and I want to see like their inspirations too, because that's so big to me. Like as a producer who I'm like, people don't even ask me about producer credits sometimes, and I'm like, we need that. Yeah. Like these people sit here and like maneuver different kinds of beats and create new styles that we could never think of. Like appreciate that, please.
I think it's crazy when people don't like put the producer in the credits on songs. I've seen that was like a debate recently.
No, it wasn't. It's an issue because some distributors aren't putting the credits in.
Like for a bunch of them, and that's so fucked up because half the time, like you don't have the song without the producer, like, not even half the time. That's like all the time, bro. The beat is so fucking important.
A lot of people just jump on the beat and they're like, all right, F the producer, I guess. Like no credit, you know. And I've seen with a lot of artists that I appreciate now, they have like a production ear and they give their producers credit. Like Rosalia, for example, she was crediting all of her like faves and like everything that built up. She had a playlist that like of like inspirations for every song on her album.
That's dope.
And then like I know for Yeat's a really big like inspiration for me, and like we don't even make like the like similar music, but like he has like a production ear, so he produces. But like I think like with Benny X and Tragic, like he like credits them every time. He's like, yo, thank you to my brothers, and like all the other producers that he's worked with too. But like it's so interesting to hear because some people are like, all right, I'm gonna cut out the producer credits, or like they don't care about that part of it. And it's like,
I love him. He always keeps that shit in.
He always credits it. And he has a production ear on top of that. Like crazy.
That's when you know he appreciates it.
Yep. And I think the artists that are blowing up now appreciate production like on a different level. Even if they're not doing it personally, they're like, they understand it and they like see how important it is. Like, how is the artist there without the producer? Like, not dodging appreciation for the artists themselves, but like, think about production. Think about like when you go on YouTube and it's like, oh, BK the Ruler type beat. Like, you needed to know that was like a type of beat like that they developed, like, or like when you know that it's a Chief Keef type beat, like it's like another artist jumms on a Chief Keef type beat, it's like all right, you know this is a Chief Keef type beat. So just like appreciating that and like recognizing that is so big. Because it's responsible for eras. Like, think of, like, pop music and how, like the 2010s was so popular. Yeah. Oh, my God. We know that because the producers during that era knew the sound that they wanted to develop. That shit is so cool.
I think it's so amazing when, like, how sound changes over the years.
It is
like,
crazy.
You look back at a certain, and it was like, that was a sound. And sometimes you can't even put your finger on it. It's just the vibe. You just listen to it, and you know. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, because it's like how we've been in kind of, like, the hip-hop era for a little bit now. Before that, it was pop, and it was heavy metal was like the most popular thing at one point.
Now it's like Uzi.
Like
definitely hip hop has like risen, but like that's
Rock's
where
on
like
the rise again.
No, most definitely, and like the merges of like rock and rap too. Oh my God, I love that shit. But like even seeing that, like a lot of now in artists, I challenge artists to do something different. Like, change the fucking flow. Fact. Like, literally, oh my God, the amount of artists I'm like, you did this flow yesterday, and I'm tired of it. Like, do something different, or like change the flow in the song. Like, it's not too hard to do that, and I really think that artists need to challenge themselves in that way. Like, all right, you might have like a sound you want to like achieve. Like, everyone wants a signature sound, but like, how can you make it yourself? Like, and new at the same time. Like, I always challenge people to be on that. And, like, I expect my friends to challenge me and be like, all right, you did that riff yesterday, change it up. Like, you know? That's the fun part of performing, too, because it's like, oh, I could change this riff right now. Like, and you wouldn't even care. Like, it's cooler now.
True.
Just experimenting. I love that.
Damn, we are...
I know, I'm like, I could keep going for 2 hours.
21 minutes. That's crazy as fuck.
Yeah, I'm a talker for real. I'm not gonna lie.
I
like
love
all my
it.
friends, me and my friends be talking for hours and be like, oh my God, driving here, I was like, wait, it felt like 10 minutes. Like,
bro,
it'd be like
me and Chandel in the car, like, yeah, we vibing.
It's the best. I love
the
that.
best.
Yeah.
On that note, actually, on the producer note, how did you kind of get into that and like kind of what's your favorite like way to or sound to produce?
So I started producing. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and be like I've been a producer this whole time.
Or that you're a producer.
Yeah, I'm not like. I feel like it took me a long time to like think that I was even a producer, but I think so. I started like dabbling in it when I was like maybe 12 or 13 because I had Apple products. So it's like, oh, we have GarageBand. We can play with that. And people underestimate GarageBand too because a lot of hits. Like I found out Umbrella by Rihanna was produced on GarageBand. Like that's what?
When I found out the Steve Lacy when I was mad young.
Oh, like, Steve Lacy's a big inspiration with that too. But like, I feel like for me, I just started experimenting and like, oh my God, I thought my shit was ass earlier. And over time, like I continued to think it was ass, like, but I entered this era of like listening to like a lot of like heavy rock and like, well, I grew up listening to rock music, but like, I feel like I went through this era of listening to like King Cruel and like being so fascinated by like his beat and then the contrast of his voice. And that was like a point where I was like, whoa, what the heck? And I just went through the spiral of like, oh, how to produce this kind of music on GarageBand. So I kept like going through that, and then once I was 16, maybe 15 or 16, I had like the big obsession with Steve Lacy, and like he was doing all that stuff on GarageBand. I'm like, what? I could do it too. But for a long time, I was just like in my computer with the mouse, like clicking. And I think like making static actually made me really appreciate like production. Like on my part, like doing it myself, I always had a production ear, but like doing it myself has been even crazier. Cause I think during the pandemic, during like lockdown pandemic, like I really like tapped into it and I was like, whoa. Like start actually naming different parts of the song and like just getting back into music theory since like I had graduated already. And then like I just went full force static era. I was like, all right, I got this drum pattern. Like here's how I switch it up. Here's how I add a transition and stuff. But like without the credit of like my producer friends, I don't think I'd be like here. So like a lot of my friends produce. So like shouts out to people like, you know, Tomo who produce or like Max Moody, and like listening to their music, and like Calvin Klein Caterpillar or Dubem, like he also produces, and like they all like have their styles. So I'm like, yo, I peep. Like, y'all have, like, a sound. So I'm like, for me, I don't think I really have one sound because I work on emotion. So it's like, if I feel like this, like, I could make a rage beat right now, you know? Or, like, I start with, like, a melody one day. The next day I start with the drums, you know? But for me, I think I always am, like, heavy on, like, maybe, like, synths. I feel like synths are, like, a big TT sound. And then also, now that I think about it, I think synths are a big sound. Like, people are like, ooh, the synths, I knew you made this. Like, and I'm like, ooh. But I think I'm big on, like, heavy kicks, too. I think that's my Timbaland influence because I'm big on that. But just, like, different eras. Like, I had a really big Chloe and Halle era before they, like, blew up, before Ungodly Hour. And Chloe Bailey would, like, have the beat machine. And I didn't have a beat machine until, I think, 2021. A couple of my friends like teamed together and bought me a MIDI. So
that's so cute.
Yeah, like from there I was like, I can't live without this thing. Like sometimes I'll be in the studio with other people and I'm like learning FL right now a little bit better, and like I've always used it. So I use different things. I started with GarageBand and then I like went to Logic, and Logic's like my fave. Okay. But like Ableton, I started learning more because I have a lot of friends who utilize it. But I utilize that for sampling. And then like FL is what I really like want to learn because like you could really cater that to yourself. Definitely. But on FL, I'm like, wait, like I gotta go back. Like I know it gets really crazy. And then when you're in the studio and they have like 8 monitors, and I'm like, I just work with one screen. Literally. Like I'm scared. But I feel like it's really interesting because like with kicks, like on Timbaland songs, like you know it's a Timbaland song. Like he has the heavy kicks, or he'll have the percussion that's like, oh shit, like, he put a breath in this song. Like I produced a song and I put a breath on it. I was like, I'm achieving new things. Like I was so high. I'm doing big things. Like so, I feel like for me, like it's definitely like I have a lot of inspiration. Dark Child's another one of my favorite producers. He produced like a lot of Brandy's like earlier stuff. And like he's heavy on the like the percussion, and then like a lot of like the guitar sounds too. Oh my god. And then like the shakers. Like Pharrell with the fucking the 4 beats. Oh my god. I like made a video about that one time. I was like, I knew this was a Pharrell beat. There was like this random song like that I was listening to. I was like, this is a Pharrell beat. And I searched it up.
And I love, like, that's like his producer tag, basically. The 4 beats counting, like, it's fire.
That's crazy.
I love that. I don't have a producer tag, but I've been working on what I want it to be, like, ooh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been working on it. I'm trying to do a play on my name, but, like, I feel like I have long intros, so people are usually like, oh, you made this beat because it has a long intro. But I like for people to sit before I actually start the beat up. It's like, I caught you.
Let him marinate.
Yeah.
Let him marinate. I'm going to let him cook. But, so do you have any advice for any creatives out there doing their thing? You know,
like I mentioned earlier, like you have to develop, like, or start developing your, like, idea of your identity. You don't know 100% of yourself. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I knew I was going to be like this, like, later on. But, like, start establishing what you care about, your motives, like, and be genuine about it, because you're not going to want to sit here and, like, switch up and have to, like, deal with, like, a camera personality versus, like, who you really are. Like, and like I said, we're 3-dimensional. We have our times where we're, like, you know, we're sad people, we're mad people. You don't have to be happy all the time necessarily, but, like, build that identity for yourself, and, like, from there you can build that confidence and, like, start to share with other people confidently. I know so many creators who are like, I wasn't confident in myself before, and, like, I'm still building it, and we're all building it. Like, literally. Before the Static Anniversary event, I was really not going to do that. And I was like, I don't know if people would really come. I'm like, so glad you I don't know. Like, and then the turnout, like, it was literally packed in there. And I was like, I literally was like, wow. Like, I can't believe, shouts out to Kinross for letting me hold that. But, like, I could not believe it. So, like, when I go to, like, bigger shows and I'm in a big venue and they're like, oh, you got to fill up 3,000. It's like, holy shit, one day I could get to that when I see, like, the smaller impact. And that shit gives me so much motivation. Like, you can get anywhere you want to like be in the future just by believing in yourself. And people don't realize believing in yourself is the start, and like actually starting. Like, don't sit here and like be in the conception stage for like 3 years. Like, you can plan things out, but like actually do something. Like, actually put your foot in the door, actually speak to someone, like, and from there you're gonna feel so much better. That's where a lot of the anxiety starts. Like, it's I have to talk to other people, or like some people who don't know how to produce, for example, or like me who doesn't know how to fully engineer. It's like, oh, I have to reach out to somebody and be like, I need help, bro. Like, there's asking for help is so big, and like I know it's hard sometimes because like it's an investment, like sometimes like with money, but like learning, like investing time in learning that, like production, oh my God, sometimes people cannot produce what I want. Like, I'm like, do you get what I'm saying? And they don't get what I'm saying. I'm like, I gotta produce it myself. Like, but it's a beautiful experience, like learning about yourself and building that identity. So if you are creative, like wanting to start, like just put your foot in the door. Like, find people who also make music or also like art, or like people who will listen, for example. Like, oh my God, I used to force my younger siblings to be like, listen to this song. The funniest thing, my younger brother Kenzo, he has this thing that he says, and when the song's like really good and he like can imagine it mainstream, he's like, this sounds like superstar music. So like me and my friends, we start saying, he's 10. He's like, I love that. He's like, this sounds like superstar music. Like, and I'm like, when I hear that sounds like superstar music, I'm lit. I'm like, I'm ready to go. So like hearing stuff like that, like me and my friends, like when my brother says that to my friends too, they're like, we on to something. Like, so it's cool.
That's when you know it's real.
Yeah, my siblings are really big on that too, because like I think my siblings are really creative too, but they don't, like, they're not all there at the point of like actually doing it. Like, my younger sister is an amazing dancer. Her memory's on different shit, like, but she stopped dancing because she just was like, she didn't have like the creative outlet. And like I always push her. She has such a musical ear. Like, she's so good. She used to learn like the K-pop dances. Like, damn. No music, she's doing it in the backyard.
No music.
I'm like,
crazy.
What the heck? Like, full choreo. She's like pausing, she's moving. I'm like, my parents caught it on video one day. I'm like, you're crazy. So like, for like when I sometimes like for my fits even, I'm like, Sasha, does this look good? And she's like, I don't know, like it's not giving you. Like, I appreciate shit like that. Yeah. Like, that's so constructive to me. Facts. And I feel like for that, like, that's another reason why, like, the people around you are important. Like, build that community. Build, even if it's small, even if you got 3 friends in your corner, like, show them your shit, or, like, build that confidence, you know? And then also, like, I always want to be a crutch for people, like, to help them grow, or, like, even if they need a listening ear, like, I want to be that person. So, like, I always open myself up to, like, being that person. Like, oh, you have a song, send me it. You have a beat, send that to me. Like, I always want to hear. It's hard for me sometimes because a lot of people hit me up, but like I promise, like I will get to it, like, and try, because I know how big that is to have someone actually listen and like give you feedback in the first place. The amount of OGs in the community who've been like, you're on the right path. Like, you're missing something, but like you're on the right path.
You need to hear shit, that.
You
like,
know?
You need to
exactly, because you don't want to hear all the time like, oh, you're killing it. Yeah. All right, so what's like, missing then? What's next now? Like, I keep killing it and I keep like not getting the next thing.
Genuine opinion.
Yeah. Like, that's really big for me, because like sometimes I'll send stuff to my friends and they're like, this don't make no sense. And I'm like, okay, let me try to make it make sense. Or like the beat doesn't sound good. I'm like, what's missing? And they're like, it's just ass, throw it away. I'm like, you're right. I needed to start a new beat, you know, or like look at it another day, you know? I underestimated a lot of like letting stuff sit, and a lot of like the static beats that I have were things that I let sit, and I was like, whoa, I really can use this. Like, oh my God, yeah. Really big.
You have anything else you want to add?
Anything on the way?
Wait, is this camera? Where do I look? Oh.
This one, probably.
I'm like, which camera? Right. New stuff on the way. I'm working on a new album, but a lot of performances coming up this year. Hopefully for the rest of the year, I keep getting performances.
Hell yeah.
Summer season is so fun to perform.
I'm
like,
so excited.
People can come, they're not in school. Like, you can do bigger things. It's nice outside. You don't have to wear 5 coats.
Yes.
Like, so watch out. More Teatea on the way. And all my gang coming with me. So
period. Tag your socials.
Oh yeah. So my Instagram is Teatea. And in that bio, you can find my link tree with all my other socials in it. But I'm on all streaming platforms under Teatea, 2 times like the drink, the tea. So, yeah, thank you.
Love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
coming.
I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you. This was fire.
You guys are the sweetest. Like, I was telling Sam, I was like, I'm so excited for this because I feel like you guys are just dope energy.
Thank you.
You have an amazing energy.
We were super excited for this. We knew it would have.
We knew we needed to make it happen. Like, what
That's why I was stressing it so much. I'm like, what?
I just needed a platform.
I just needed a platform for real. Like, damn. Like, what the fuck?
That's the realest thing I ever said, bro.
But yeah, love this. I love your energy, your aura, and the purple to match. Like, we bringing it
There's
home,
such
baby.
a purple aura too. Like, I know it's obviously fucking purple, but I literally just see it.
I know.
Like,
I love it. So thank you so much for speaking your mind, and we appreciate you.
oh yeah, Pink World.
Shout out Pink World. Shout out DOD. We will see you soon. Shout out TT.
Shout out.